Alright, today in CIS 125 we worked on arrays, which included subscripted variables. Alright, so what we did was we looked at an example, and I said we have students and name, quality points, and credits. We talked a little bit about how schools figure GPA, quality points divided by credits. Then I said we have a list of GPAs. Okay, so this was just an introduction to the concept. Then we have a list of GPAs, an unknown number of GPAs. That's all we have. And you have some scenario where we want, out of that, we want the highest GPA and then the list printed. So we're going to put in all these GPAs. While we're doing that, we want to figure out which one's the highest. And we're going to print that first, and then we're going to print the rest of the list. Okay? In order to do that, we talked about the idea of a subscripted variable. So we have a variable called GPA, and we can take this first GPA and store it in an array, GPA1. And then we can take the second one and store that in an array and call that GPA stored in the second location. Okay, we can use this concept right here of a subscript to do that. And so it looks a little, if we were to look at it, so we have, here we have GPA, and then we have these locations, subscript 0, 1, 2, 3. Depending on how this design works in your particular programming language, this could vary. The first one could be 1. So what we're doing is we're learning it as if that's 0. So if I printed GPA 2, it would print what was stored right here, which I think was 4.0 in our example. Alright, so what we can do is we can write code, some type of loop that's going to fill the array, and we could do some other things there too initially, but we'll talk about filling the array and then printing out the array with also some type of loop. So let's move. Okay, so we're going to then, what you'd have to do here, information in and use the other one to print the information out. Alright, so I'm going to see if this works here. I had a couple of issues. So up here, to get all the values in. Then we added this GPA high part over here. So I changed the direction here of what we're doing. So we come down in, we put the GPA, we store it into the first location in the array. You notice count right there. Count is 1. And so GPA 1 is the first GPA that we just entered. Then we go over here, we see, is that one greater than GPA high? And it's going to be, because that's 0 right now. So then we'll store that one in GPA high. Come back together, we come up, we count, we input another GPA. Is it less than 0? No, we have a trailing decision. When it's less than 0, negative, then we're going to be done, at least over to this part. And so we go false, we come in, we got another GPA, we're going to put it in the array, and then we're going to look, is it the largest one? Is it bigger than what we stored? If not, we go here. If it is, we substitute that one in as the largest, come back, and so then this process continues, and when we get done, we're going to have all the GPAs in an array, and we will have recorded the highest one. Come over here. This is really important. Since we put in a negative value for the last one, we got out of the loop. So the last value is not put in the array. We counted here to get to that point. So we have to take one off the count so we have the right number of items in the array. We print the highest, and then I'm going to show you. We'll go. Okay, so we'll see how this turns out. I had a couple issues with the recording. So now we've taken care of, we've created our arrays, we found our highest one in the array. Now we can, this time I'm using a leading decision, can do while as long as C's our new count, C is equal to 1, that was initialized earlier on. 1 is less than or equal to n. N is how many, the number of values in the array. So it's the number of GPAs that were put in the array. As long as that's less than n, true, we're going to print, and see the subscript right there? That subscript is C. So we're going to print the first one in the array, add 1 to C, go back up. C is now 2, is 2 less than n, whatever n is, the total number in there. That's true. Then we put GPA, C is 2, and so this loop will print out everything until we get C 1 bigger than n, and there's no more in the array. This will be false. We print out how many values there were, and then we stop. And that's it.